Hey, what's up, aliens, humanoids, and droids, and welcome to a Nerdy Bunch weekly review for Star Wars The Acolyte. Today we're talking the premiere episodes, and joining me to podcast with all his strength is my co-host Andrew. What's up, Andrew?
What's up, Star Wars fans?
This is the beginnings of Star Wars as far as I know, I can remember. This is the furthest we've been in Star Wars in terms of TV shows and movies.
Yep.
Quickly, without any spoilers, what were your immediate thoughts after watching the 2-episode premiere?
So personally, immediate thoughts, I really enjoyed it. I felt like the story drew me in, right? They didn't rush, but they didn't spend too long on story points, and it all kind of tied together. And it's kind of like a murder mystery. I don't know if that's a spoiler or not, but the point is, it just felt a little bit different to some of the usual shows we've seen, and I think for me, some of the best displays of the Force. I know that's a lot to say, but those are my thoughts.
Yeah, no, I enjoyed it. I don't know if I love it yet, but it's one of those shows that it looks like I will love it. I'm just basing it on 2 episodes. It's enough that I will be back for episode 3. Keep watching. I don't think it's a spoiler to say it's a murder mystery. I think that's part of the marketing, you know, what's going on, what's happening. But what I like about this kind of mystery is, you know, it's not a spoiler to really say that it goes beyond the murder mystery. It goes beyond like, oh, who's doing the murders? It's that to start off with, but then it goes further. And I think a good mystery has layers to it. And I think this has layers. And that's what I enjoy about it.
Agreed.
As opposed to just dragging one piece of mystery for so long. This is, as one thing gets revealed, something else another question gets asked, and things like that. So like I said, this is the Jedi at their top form. So like you said, we get some of the best Force wielding that I've seen. And also just the martial arts. The fact that they're more martial arts, you know, centric in terms of their fighting. They're highly trained. You know, they do a lot of Crouching Tiger, Hidden Dragon style wire fu, which for me, when they do wire action in martial arts, it's a give or take. Sometimes I'm like, oh, that looks too floaty. But in the context of Jedi who can manipulate gravity and the powers, the floatiness makes sense, right? Of course there would be everything so floaty. That's part of the powers. So I really enjoyed that. I love the idea that we're back in Star Wars where everything feels tangible. You know, the set design, the costumes, they use animatronics. It doesn't feel like green screen. Yeah. They may use some green screen,
you can tell,
but we feel like on set, right? Everything feels physical. I like seeing that. Even like I said, the wardrobe looks phenomenal. I like the cast. I think the cast is really good and interesting. They do some bold things with the cast. And it's one of those places where because it's set at like 100 years prior to the original stories that we've seen, the stakes are so much higher because nobody is safe, right? You watch Obi-Wan TV series, whatever you think of it, good or bad, you know Obi-Wan is safe. You know he's going to, because we know when he dies.
We know his
Every
future,
time we see all these prequels. Exactly. This is the one time we know the future of the Jedi Order as an entity, but we don't know the individual futures of characters. Or we know they could kill off the main character in episode 4. Like, we don't know. And for me, that's exciting. And I think it's a great place to be. And it's a place almost where we haven't been in Star Wars since the original trilogy, right? In terms of just like, where would these characters take us?
Yeah.
And it's kind of good to have a Star Wars that, because it's so separate from the original stuff, it's not answering questions about the original stuff. Completely separate, outside of just the overarching themes. And I think I really enjoyed that. Let's go into spoilers. The big mystery of this show, and I want to talk about the mystery straight away. The big mystery of the show is who's killing the Jedi. You know, at first it's alluded that the person we think is the good guy is also the person who's Osha, is also the person killing the Jedi. And I think the trailers even did a good job of marketing that. Right? We only see May in the trailers. We really see Osha in the trailers.
Yeah.
How did you feel when you found out it was twins?
Oh, it kind of blew my mind, because when they confronted Osha in her room and she said she didn't do it, I was like, wow, she's acting really well, because I know you did it, right? So when we found out about the twins, I was like, oh my gosh, I'm so sorry, I spoke too soon. And I feel like it's nice that Master Soul's confidence in her was rewarded, right? because as soon as we meet him, like, and he finds out about it, he literally said, "There's no way she did that," which
Yeah.
you could say, and he could still be wrong. But I felt like it was a nice story point that he was actually correct because he does know his ex Padawan, right? So yeah, I think that twin thing was really good, and what I touched on in the spoiler free part was I liked that they didn't take it to like episode 3 or 4 to reveal that, right? I like that it was kind of like you said, a layered murder mystery where it's like, no, it's not her, but who is the guy behind her, right? That's still a mystery to us. Why is she doing this? Why is she going after these number of Jedi, right? So I think that twin twist was quite nice for me.
My sci-fi brain didn't go to twin first of all. It was shapeshifter, because we've had shapeshifters and stuff. Yep. But then I was like, shapeshifter with force abilities. Then I was like, well, what if she's being brainwashed and she doesn't know she's doing it, and she just wakes up like, what did I do? Yeah. Because especially the cut, right? We cut to her waking up, and even her workmate is just like, oh, where were you yesterday? Yeah. I was doing my own thing. Don't worry about it. They do these little things that make you assume that it's her. Mm-hmm. But you pay attention, you notice this. They give us subtle hints, right? One, May has a tattoo on her forehead, a white tattoo on her forehead, and her hair's longer than Osha's. Mm-hmm. And then also May is clearly amazing force user, and Osha at this point in time is not. When she's trying to reach out, there's a huge difference in the levels of force use. So there's little hints that when you realize, like, that makes sense. And I spoke about the fact that, nobody's safe, and I like about that. So let's go into the first action scene where May confronts Trinity, Master Indara, I should say, played by Carrie-Anne Moss. She was advertised as one of the main characters and just killed up in the beginning. What did you think of that fight? Fight with all your strength.
So great fight scenes, right? Like you said, the martial artsy movements, even when she decided to bring out her lightsaber, but obviously she doesn't want to use it aggressively against May. But I was really upset. I actually was, because I was like, Trinity, no. Like, maybe it's the Matrix nostalgia, but seeing Trinity, so I'm going to call her, use the Force was just amazing. It just felt like the progression of her after Neo died, going off to train for years, right? It felt so good, and I don't want to say it feels like a waste because she's such a great actress, but I don't know. I hope they give us some flashbacks or something, just because she really had a strong presence, and it was very sad, but it's also kind of like the Game of Thrones effect, where, like you said, you don't know who's safe. Just because you see this A-list actor does not in any way mean that they're gonna survive, right? So on that point, I enjoyed the killing, and even the way she did it, right? Like, May clearly showed that she is, on the evil side, and how she like figured it out very quickly. I kind of like her, like, quick on her feet thinking, even though she's a baddie. So yeah, and knowing that Carrie's gone, Trinity, but I think for the story, it was just great in showing us that, one, this Acolyte is going to do whatever she has to do to get the kill, and these characters can die at any point. Don't get attached, or do get attached, but don't feel like anybody is above death per se.
The Jedi do say attachments can lead to heartbreak. Shouldn't have attachments, part of the Jedi Order. And I did like that fight because, again, clearly she's done research on the Jedi and their ways, and so she weaponizes that against them. When, like you said, when Indara brings out her saber, the first thing that May says is like, a Jedi doesn't bring out their weapon unless they're willing to kill. And then she puts it away. Yeah. Things like that. And like I said, the way she kills her is by knowing that she's going to try and save an innocent person and be distracting her, throwing the blade at the other guy and then stabbing her. Just using their ways against them. Like, I know you're going to help somebody, so that's how I'm going to kill you. I really enjoyed that. I thought that fight sequences just set the stage for the action, set the stage again, like you said, for the stakes, and nobody is safe. Nobody is safe. Here's my question.
And just a quick one, because I love in May's fighting. Sorry, I love how she always would try and go for the lightsaber. Right? Did you pick that up?
Yes.
Like, right off the jump in the fight, she was trying to snatch that.
I was going to bring that up, even because we see that even with her fight with Salt later on. It's the same thing. She's trying to go for his saber, and he's kind of like, can't touch this, dodging her out the way. But again, I think that leads to her larger narrative where, again, it hasn't been fully explained. I know some stuff because of comics, but I won't go into it. But it hasn't been explained in the sense of, one, she has 4 Jedi to kill. This show she kills 2 of them. 2,
so far. Mm-hmm.
One of them she has to kill without a weapon. And I think that is probably leading to some kind of Sith rite of passage. There's later on, and exactly. It's like, how good are you before you can become fully Sith? You have to be able to kill a Jedi without using a weapon, or maybe using their own weapon against.
Hard.
That's why. Right. Yeah. Right.
It's messed up, but it's pretty hard. Pretty hard. Not gonna lie.
I mean, she cheats a bit. She uses her blades with the first kill, and then uses poison in the second kill. And then she's just like, but then she does have a line of dialogue that she only needs to kill at least one of the 4.
Yeah.
And here's my question, in the episode, we get a sense that, what I like about it is that as evil, and for the listeners, I'm using air quotes here, as she is, there are moments where you're like, is she though? She almost, when she stops from killing the bar owner when she sees the bar owner with a child. I feel like a Sith wouldn't care. I mean, Anakin killed a whole bunch of kids, of younglings, and you get a sense that she truly believes what she's doing is right. She thought that her sister was dead. She so I'm curious. And then you get moments, when she offers to Master Tobin, when he's floating in the air, and I thought that was a dope scene when she just can't get through his force field. He's been meditating for 10 years in that field. Right. When he wakes up, she offers him a chance and says, tell the Jedi Council what you did, or take this poison. And she doesn't use those words, but that's the choice she gives him, and he'd rather take the poison. And then also you find out that Saul
like, what did he do then?
Right. Saul knew about the twins, but he didn't tell the Jedi. They didn't tell the Jedi Council. So it's like, did the Jedi do something bad? Are they guilty or something? I think there's some guilt there. I don't think they're as innocent. When he's just like, she killed her parents in the fire, and she was dead herself. I'm like, is that what happened? Do you think the Jedi, at least those 4 Jedi, are guilty of something?
I kind of am leaning towards yes. I definitely feel like there's a cover up of sorts. Maybe it was a mistake. I'm not saying they intentionally went to do harm or evil, but even so, he seemed pretty sure that May was dead, and I was like, "Did you kill her?" was my first thought. I mean, that's the only way you can really be sure is if you killed someone, right? Or you saw their body being dismembered. So yeah, I thought that was interesting, and you're right, because when second guy, what's his name? I just forgot. With the aura,
Torben,
the second Jedi she killed. Torben, thank
Master
you.
Torben.
Yeah, he drank that thing so quick. I was like, bro, really? I mean, you've been in this all powerful force field, and all of a sudden he's gonna drink this poison. Like, but like you said, I really feel like you're not gonna do that if you went to war and killed somebody on the opposite army, right? You're gonna do that when something happened where you feel responsible personally for your role in that, right? Otherwise, why would you commit to seppuku with poison? So yeah, I definitely feel like there's something strange going on there, and I'm anticipating that Saul will be the last one standing, and he's gonna tell us when he's almost gonna die, but maybe he won't die.
Because he doesn't even Master Benestra, the Green Jedi, because she's obviously in a position of power in the Jedi. She didn't even know. So it's like, and even when his Padawan says, "Oh, how come that information wasn't in May's file?" So it's like, this kind of information knew. Why did they keep this a secret? And I find that curious. I think I don't think May is just going out to kill them for the sake of killing them. There's a revenge kind of plot to her. She feels she's doing the right thing. She's getting her revenge. So the question is, again, which was what we talked about at the beginning, is that there's layers to this, right? We found out who's doing the killing, but now the next question is why. Right? And it keeps, and then it's like, okay, we kind of know why it's revenge. Then it's like, okay, but what did they do? So there's like layers and layers and layers to this. All right. Exactly. Let's talk about OSHA. She's introduced as a mechanic, which in basically doing the jobs that R2 droids would do, the dangerous jobs that they would do. And we find out that she was a former Jedi student, Padawan, and she left. We don't know why, but we get a sense of that it's because she was still holding on to some kind of pain. And even in the second episode, we realize that she's still angry. There's still a lot of anger inside of her, which we know in the Jedi narrative, anger leads to pain leads to suffering. That's how. What I like about Star Wars is, outside of someone like the Emperor, a lot of people who go down to the dark side route isn't just, I want to be evil, let's just go down the dark side. Yeah. It's usually because of cause of great trauma or great pain or great loss, right? And the question is, do you think May is as good as she's portrayed? And do you think OSHA is as good as she's portrayed, or do you think May is as bad as she's portrayed? I don't think it's as simple as we think. Because I question,
that's an interesting one.
Did May start the fire? The Jedi said she did. But did she? Because then if she started the fire, why? Why did you start the fire that killed your parents? And it doesn't seem like it was like,
family,
when parents. You watch, right? When you see narratives like X-Men and things like that, where someone's powers manifest and they accidentally killed someone close to them and it wasn't their fault. It doesn't seem that it was portrayed. It's not portrayed that way. It's portrayed, right? Exactly. Yeah. It's more portrayed that, she killed her parents and probably did it on purpose or set things in motion for that to happen. And I don't know how true that is. The prison break moment, I like that.
By Jedi killer.
Right. There, again, that leads us to, again, if you look at the Jedi Order, they're very much at a point where, again, no one's attacked them. No one's tried to attack them for centuries, right? So there's a bit of cockiness in how they approach things. One, when they want information, they're just like, Jedi mind trick, tell me everything straight away. Like, there's no thinking about it. Forget your privacy, forget your issues.
No ethics.
It's just straight up, boom, Jedi mind tricks, tell me all the information. And then two, they're keeping secrets from the people. Venestra, she says, if this is a Jedi who's going around killing people, we need to cut this down before it becomes public. So there's a part of political movements and things like that. What do you think of the Jedi Order at this point? Because even, I was a bit upset when, at first, when May was able to easily get into the Jedi Temple, nobody's paying attention to her. And at first I was like, well, that's stupid. And afterwards I realized, wait, no. If I was part of an order that nobody's attacked me for hundreds of years, of course my security is going to be out. Of course. So the Jedi Order at this point in time, what do you think
about it? I guess it's an interesting point you brought up, because like you said, clearly they're comfortable, right? And comfort breeds laziness, right? Essentially. So it's not that surprising that she was able to break in. And I think the added fact that they knew that he had this force bubble, like even if you break in, like, okay, good luck, right? So my point is, they weren't protecting like a fragile egg. They were just watching their masters. So that was interesting. And it's so funny because she broke in, left, and came back. Like really?
Yes.
Like, it's crazy that she was able to do that twice. But I think, like you said, the Jedi, they do seem comfortable, and that is usually when people start to act crazy, right? Like, for example, when you're at war, everybody on one side is going to be huddled up, right? Because they know they're fighting that side. But when you're not at war and you've been at peace for so long, it almost like the fighting, not actual fighting, but like infighting starts, right? Like politicking and like political maneuverings and all those kind of things. So I think it's an interesting time we've come to see the Jedi, right? Because it's almost like they don't have an enemy to fight, and they're now just living ideals. But like, are these really good ideals? I mean, can it stand the test of time? Okay, you have a Padawan. Okay, but so what? And I really like Soul's Padawan, just random. Like I feel like she's kind of like
Oh,
how
Daphne
I
Keane.
see things. Like she's always just asking she's always asking really pertinent questions. Like she's just like, this is logical play. Oh, well then let's do this. And I really like her character and how she's becoming to the light. But it's just like you said, one of the most interesting things about Star Wars is that you know that any of these characters, one little or big trauma could just tee them to the other side, right? Like
Yeah.
there's no point that you ever say a character other than like the Obi-Wans and co that we know. There's no point you can say a character is not going to go dark, right? Which I think is a great thing about Star Wars. You can never ever over expect your hero to be your hero, right? They did that to us with Anakin, and it was the biggest heart gut punch. And I just keep seeing it with this Jedi Council because I like him, right? He seems nice, he seems cool, but why are you keeping so many secrets, right? This isn't about it's about if you're not sharing things, then you're being shady. Why are you being shady?
There's a line that the secret master says to May at the end of episode 1. You see him in the background by the beach. He says, "If you attack the Jedi with a weapon, you will fail. Steel and laser are no threat to them, but an acolyte kills without a weapon. An acolyte kills the dream." And I love that because the Jedi way of life, it's so good. Because again, what we do know is that by the time we get to the era of Luke, in the original trilogy, when Luke talks to Han Solo about Jedi, Han Solo's like, "What? I've been everywhere. I've never seen anything like that. The Force. That makes no sense." And it tells you that the Sith was successful in killing the dream of the Jedi. They go from being everywhere and everyone knows who they are to people like, "Who the fuck is that? I've never heard of that. That's kids' stories." A couple hundred years later. Yeah. Exactly. And again, that's part of the Jedi hubris, right? In terms of the opening credits talks about how, the Jedi controlled everything, but they're a group of people who went to the dark sides of the galaxy so they can practice in secret. And it really shows you how much control. It's almost as if, from a certain point of view, the Jedi are the bad guys because they're almost like the police, and you know how people don't trust the police and things like that.
Yeah.
And so
exactly. That's a good example.
Even in the first fight, the first thing that Trinity says when she gets attacked, she just calls home base and she's like, "There's an unregistered Force user." I'm like, "Wait, you're registering them now?" It's like that, like a Cuban cat.
Are they mutants?
You're making sure. Exactly. So again, it goes to show how certain groups of people see Jedi, even how people fear the Jedi. "Oh no, don't mind control me. Don't do that. Mind wipe me, please." There's a certain level, even though there's respect, there's fear, right? Look how they laugh at May when she challenges Indara.
At first, on the table, yeah.
Yeah, right. And so again, it's as much as the Jedi are trained, there's levels of hubris that ends up catching up to them. And I thought that's very interesting to see the Jedi almost as the bad guys in a sense. Right? And that's why I said earlier that from May's point of view, she's not portrayed as evil, right? She could have easily killed the guy at the bar with the kid and be like, "I don't care."
Yeah.
But she's only killing the people that she wants to kill. She's not just going around as
like Arya.
Right.
Like it's a specific number of people.
May's look is kind of dope. I think that you're going to see a lot of. It gives a lot of. I was going to say it gives a lot of Black women like cosplay to use that they don't have to necessarily dress up as a white character or an alien. They have Black female characters that they can dress at, which I thought, I was like, "Oh, that's nice." And it's not a complicated costume either, where you have to spend thousands of on it. It's just, get the cloak, boom, the mask, the hair. The hair is probably the hardest thing to do, right? And I like her visual look and her blades. When she's like, the blade comes out of her hand. I thought that was
dope.
Right. And again, I like that because you see her use it the first time, the blades, and successfully. And she tries to do it against Saul, not so successfully. But then the difference is Saul also had a team behind him, who had his back, which I thought that was a cool moment. I've never seen anybody use the Force to kind of like smokescreen, get out ninja style. I thought that was cool.
I think that, like I said, this is some of the best Force usage I've seen, and this is just 2 episodes, right? And I guess it's because, like you said, this is the high time of the Jedi, so there are a lot of, I guess, trainings and usage examples for people to see. But I'm really excited to see where they go with with the force usage just based on that. The smoke screen when Soul saved Osha, Soul saved Osha, and he
Yes.
also held May in the exact same position. Like, I don't know why that blew my mind
Yes.
for some reason. I was like, wow,
I didn't notice that.
he did the exact same thing to both twins. I was like, wow, yeah,
Well,
it was just a very nice little thematic thing. Like, I feel like that's now his signature. His signature is the lying down force hold or something.
What are some of your favorite moments that we haven't spoken about so
far? Favorite moments. I guess random, but I like when the prison escape after the prisoners left in the escape pod. Just the droid pilots, how they enter the chair. It was just such a nice little cute technology thing. It just looked perfect. Like they were like, "Oh, brace for impact, bye," and I was like, "Oh, damn, I need that chair. I need that." So that I don't know. That really stood out in my mind for some reason.
I did like that. That was cool. I think, I don't think I've ever seen that where it's like the droid pilots become the chair when they go offline. I did think that was cool as well. What moments did I like the new droid Pip? I want a Pip, little droid that can be carried. It's like it's almost like an evolution of a phone, right? It's like having a phone that turns into a little mini droid. I want one of those. Right? It's like the future of like our cell phones and things like that. But and it's easy to carry around with you. Did you ever play the Jedi Survivor games?
Oh,
the most recent ones, the Star Wars. Yeah, like his droid.
I played the
one
first one,
on his shoulder.
Yeah.
For me, that's I like it. It reminded me of that. Kind of reminded me of the little. I like having a mini droid that I can take around with me, as opposed to big one that has to, it's harder to carry around everywhere.
Yeah, like the R2D2 or the CP3Os. I'm like, bro, come on. Right? You stick out like a thumb. How am I gonna walk into a place with you behind me? Like, come on.
All right. I think May is also Osha is also keeping some things away from. She knows things too. When the end of the second episode, where she confronts May with a blaster, before she tries to shoot her. I think there's something there that we as the audience don't quite know yet. And I think, is she trying to kill because she's of revenge, or is she trying to kill because, oh shit, my sister knows the truth that I don't want other people to know? That's a question.
I had the exact same thought you're having, because May was shocked and happy, or like happily shocked to see Osha, right? Whereas Osha was like a little dejected. I don't know if that's the word, but I agree. In that moment, it seemed like Osha would expect, if you thought your sister was dead, even if she was evil, I would expect a little bit more enthusiasm, like, oh, it's her. Oh. Clearly, she missed that shot intentionally, but you're so right, and I can't wait till they tell us what exactly happened. A simple, boring guess is that Osha is the one who set the fire, and Soul is covering for Osha, and maybe they couldn't find May, and they're like, let's just tell everybody May is dead, right? And then he took her and left.
Yeah. So and she did it.
Yeah, that for me at least, that's what my brain sees as like the narrative route that makes sense. But again, I'm curious to see the intricacies. But you're right, Osha definitely, she you can tell she's holding something back in terms of the larger story and in terms of her relationship with her sister.
Wookiee Jedi, what did you think?
Yeah. Oh yeah, that was another standout moment, because I don't know why, but I don't think there's anything scarier than seeing a creature like a Wookiee use the Force, right? Like it's already bad enough that you're a towering creature, and now it gave, no spoiler, but it felt like scavenger rain a little bit. Like, what is this? What is this? Like it was scary. Like I actually felt, not like fear, but I was like, damn, bro, like I would not mess with a Wookiee Jedi.
And I don't know. Again, this could be my ignorance talking here, but it's just like, because of their fur, it's just like this big scary naked monster coming at you.
Like holding it. No, I would freak out with a lightsaber too.
With force powers, like what? And even when those scavengers come, he force pulls the gun and he breaks it.
I don't think I've seen a bigger like 2-second flex in a while. Like, one, he rendered the gun useless in 2 different ways, like in the space of a second. Right. Like, nah, that was scary, but in a good way.
Right. It's just like, it's almost like you hear the Wookiees and and it's just oh shit,
It's crazy.
And even Kaime mentions to me, like if you thought Tobin was going to be tough, wait till you face the Wookiee Jedi. He's in the warning that's going to be a tough fight. I mean, I'm excited to see where it goes forward. Again, we spoke about how we have theories, but there's so many places and so many directions it could go, which makes it exciting. And I like that. What do you look forward to? What do you hope? What do you expect? What do you assume? Do you have any theories?
I hope they. Honestly, I hope they continue at the pace that they are. And what I mean by that is, like you said, with when Osha found the poison and they immediately debunked it, or when we thought Osha was the killer and they immediately debunked that. I like that they're like solving all these little mysteries immediately, because it feels like the larger one at play is like and so I really hope I get that moment at the end. Like again, who's pulling the strings? We don't know. Maybe it's Kimir, maybe not. But like I said, I just kind of me, whether it's a great show or not, I'm enjoying it, right? That's how I rate it. I'm not using like necessarily Star Wars eyes to look at it. And I think it's a good TV show. It's engaging, like I'm intrigued. I want to know more, right? And the force powers and the fights just make it like extra cool, right? So I think it's nice to see a good piece of Star Wars fiction that's not necessarily like centered around lightsabers as much, you know what I mean? Like that's kind of like the standout thing. Like this is like a display of force. So I'm also really looking forward to more variations. I hope we get a fight every episode. That's kind of what I'm expecting based on the trajectory. And I really hope the finale can blow my mind, because it was just cemented as a good show. Is it perfect? No, but it's really good. Even the aliens, right? I think these are some of the more diverse types of aliens I've seen in Star Wars, and it really lends into the Star Wars big galaxy idea, right? A lot more than what we've seen just following the stories of the Skywalkers and friends.
The scene where Saul is tutoring the younglings, and it's just like, what do you see? And that one was like, I see fire consuming everything. I was like, well, Sith Lord, kill him right now. Take him out.
Like literally, murder watch.
Right. This again reestablishes one law of the Jedi, that you can't start your training after you've hit a certain age. They established that May was 8 years old. That's too old. Kind of like the last time we saw that happen in the future is Anakin, right?
And you see why.
We've got to get you as kids so we can brainwash you so you can't do the evil things against us. Damn it.
It's crazy because Loki messed up, but like messed up because I think even Kimmer says it, right? That the Jedi, they say it's for peace, like peace is BS. Because sure, like they say they're doing good, but that is kind of crazy. You're wrangling up kids to put this ideal in them. Okay, I'll allow it.
It's like manipulating. You don't. It's like a bit of manipulation because they're forced down that path, and especially because we know, through subsequent stories that just because you have force doesn't mean you have to be a Jedi or Sith. Right? We see this narrative with Ahsoka, where the Jedi Order isn't representative of all good, and the Sith is representative of all bad.
All bad, yeah.
It's just like the church, right? There's different denominations of the Christian church, right? It's almost like that, but the Jedi are like, nah, our way is the way. We'll take you as kids so we can indoctrinate you, so you don't have a choice. So this is all you right? And if you're too old, it's if you're a certain age, you're too old because you're old enough to make your own choice.
8 is too old. Like not 18, right? Bro. They didn't say 15. They said 8 is too old. I mean, damn.
It's like what?
It's giving pedophilia a little bit. Like, you're 7? Perfect.
Right.
Weird.
But again, I want to know the full story. Osha says that she made the choice to leave.
Yeah.
But it's also insinuated that she was probably encouraged as well. That like you have too much pain. You're too angry, because they mentioned that even Saul's like, I didn't realize you were still
angry.
So that means he knew. He knew that she was angry, and she hides it well until it comes out. And before we close, I think that's one of the things I love about this show, because it kind of hits on the whole larger narrative of Star Wars. And this is something that we can, as viewers and people in our lives, we can kind of connect with.
Yeah.
That holding on to pain, holding on to anger can do things to you inside, even in real life, right? Take away powers and all that kind of stuff, we all at some point or other will or have suffered loss, will or have suffered pain. And a big difference to the outcome of that is how you react to it. You lash out and get angry, like, oh, fuck everybody, everyone doesn't matter. Or do you keep it in? Because you see someone like May, right? She's lashing out, she's angry, she wants revenge, right? Everything's on the surface as far as we see. But then with Osha, she seems cool, she seems fine, but she's keeping it in. It's inside. It's like a volcano. At the beginning, right? In the beginning, it starts off as if you think she's the good one, she's careful, but as soon as she realizes that May is alive, it all comes out. It's just she's like, oh, I'm angry. So it's like holding in that anger isn't good. She hasn't dealt with that anger. She hasn't dealt with that pain.
Yeah.
And I think that's a great narrative that we all can kind of look at and learn from, where it's just like in real life too, when we go through things, not speaking about it, not dealing with it, it runs the risk of coming out and bubbling over, like you said, like a volcano when we least expect it. And then what happens then? Yeah. And I thought that for me, if you go on a deeper level, that's what I love about the show so far, is that it's playing, especially because it's twins, right? So you're seeing two sides of the same coin, two people who've gone through similar experiences, but their reaction to those two experiences are very different. But then maybe there's overlapping parts to that. Like I said, is May as bad as we think she is? Is Osha as good as we think she is? Maybe there's some overlap there. I don't know. Does it end with them finally coming together, or does it end with them on opposing sides?
Interesting.
Go either way. Which I do like the logo, the Acolyte logo. The O splits into like an embryo when it creates twins. Anyway, I can talk about this forever.
Yeah, I'm excited. It's nice to have a weekly Star Wars show in the current theatrical world, right? I'm just happy about that.
What do you nerdies think of this series? What do you think of expectations for the show? What do you think of the mystery? Are you going to keep watching? Let us know. Find us on social media at The Nerdy Bunch. Thank you, Andrew.
Thank you, David.
My name's English Dave. This has been a Nerdy Bunch review for the first 2 episodes of Star Wars The Acolyte. And as always, Andrew,
keep it nerdy.
Peace.